Hi guys, it's Alicia. I haven't uploaded on my channel in a very long time, but I've decided that I wanted to do more videos, and for a while I just kind of ran out of ideas on videos I wanted to do. And I did do a makeup tutorial on my channel a long time ago, and that was one of my favorite looks that I used to do before I had all of these palettes pretty much. So I decided for now on I'm going to do more makeup videos, and for the first one I wanted to go over my eyeshadow palettes, the ones that I really love, ones that I'm like, no, they're okay, they're not as good, and just kind of go from there and see how that goes. So, I'm going to go for my drugstore palettes first, and then I'll dip into my higher end palettes. So the first one I have is this e.l.f. Mad for Mattes palette. I'm pretty sure that this is their original one. It's like a smoky palette. I love this palette. It is really, really good if you just want like a simple, neutral, matte look, but you also like smokier colors, because you don't have to use these. You could just use these for a more neutral look. But the colors that I use the most in this is the first four right here, and then the last two right there. I dip into those quite a bit. I haven't really used these four shades right here that much. Not that they're bad, I do one specific look with this palette that I love, and if I know that I want a budge-proof look that is going to stay looking just as good as it is when I put it on for the rest of the day, then I go to this palette. And there's my cat sneaking in the video. Hi, Snicker. Anyway, so yeah, this is a really, really great palette for mattes. If you like mattes, it's about $10. You can get it, I'm pretty sure, any drugstore. I got mine at Walmart. So yeah, this one is really, really good. I also really love the packaging. The next one I have is NYX Lid Lingerie Palette. This one is newer to me. I've had it for about a couple months. The shades are like right up my alley. It's kind of similar to the e.l.f. one with the shades, except there's no, like black shades, black and grays, but like some of the other colors are kind of similar, like the bottom row and a couple of the shades on the top row. But I love this palette. The main reason why I got it is because of this shade right here. I just think it is so, so pretty. So that's the main reason why I got it. But that's not even my actual favorite shade in this palette. My favorite shade is actually this shade right here, because it is probably the brightest eyeshadow I have. So I use it as a base for almost any look I do. I'll almost always dip into this palette for that one shade. All the others are really great. I've come up with two looks with this that I love, and I'm sure you could do a couple more, but I just have two that I really, really love. If I want like a same kind of look with this as I do with this, like something that's going to stay all day and maybe not smoky, but something a little more like neutral, especially if you want this color that's a little more unique compared to this one. So this is a really great palette. I think it's around $10 also. I got mine at Target, so you can get it, I would think, anywhere that sells NYX. Another palette that I'm not as crazy about, it's not bad, it's just not my favorite, is this Flower Beauty palette. I don't even know which one this is, but it has all the like purple shades. The colors are really, really pretty, and I've used this a few times, and it's not bad at all. The formula is pretty good. It's just, I don't really reach for it very often because I have a lot of other palettes that I like more, but it's not bad. There's some really pretty glittery shades in here, like this one's really pretty. I love this color on the end. You can get some really pretty looks with this. I just don't ever really use it that often. But it's not bad. I think this is around $12 or $13, so it's a little bit more than the other palettes, but if you want shimmers and not mattes and you're into the purple eyeshadows, you'd probably like this more. So it's not bad. But another one that I'm not as crazy about, but I used to be, I got this at Gordman's like a while back. It's the brand W7 Delicious Natural and Berry Eyeshadow Palette. Okay, so this is obviously a dupe for the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. I've never owned the Modern Renaissance. I've never actually owned any of the Anastasia palettes, although I did almost buy Sultry, but I didn't, and you'll see why. But this is not a bad palette. I actually remember really liking this when I first got it. I mean, you can tell I've definitely given it some love, especially like these shades up here. I don't know, the last time I used this, I wasn't crazy about the look that I created, and if I remember right, it wasn't really that much different than any of the other looks I've done with it before, so I don't know. I might end up passing this one on as well as the flower one to someone else because I just don't ever really use it anymore, but it was definitely not a bad palette. I remember liking it for a while when I got it. I think maybe it's just I have so many palettes now that I have ones that I prefer more. But yeah, it's not bad. And this one is actually $7. And yeah, it was at Gordon's. It says the price was originally $30, but then Gordon's pricing is $7. I don't know that this would really be $30 anywhere. I mean, I wouldn't spend $30 on this. You may as well spend the extra 10, 15, whatever it is for the Anastasia one over this, because even though I've never tried her shadows, I can guarantee they're probably better than these. Okay, so moving on, another drugstore one that I love this palette. So I almost bought the Sultry by Anastasia, and the only reason why I didn't was because at first I was waiting because of the price. But then also, I saw one of my favorite YouTubers talking about this palette, and it's pretty comparable. And this is, well, Milani's Soft and Sultry. Gorgeous packaging. Like, are you kidding me? And these are the shades, and I mean, obviously there's some differences. You don't have exactly the same shades you do in the Sultry, but I wasn't going to use probably every shade that's in the Sultry. The ones that I would have used probably would have compared to these. And this one right here is my favorite. It's like a taupey shimmer shade, and it's just so gorgeous. And I love that you have a really rich dark brown and then a rich black, that you have both of those darker colors and then like a medium brown. I think that is just awesome. I've done a few different looks with this. I've actually went up and down the rows and just pretty much done that with my looks, but I always use this shade as a base if I don't use the one in my NYX palette. Or you can kind of mix and match. The first look I ever did with this palette, I remember I took this shade and this and this in my crease, and then I took this all over the lid, and this is like a little eye topper in the inner corner. And then I actually used all three of these shades. I mixed these two together for my outer corner and used this to kind of like buff them together. And it turned out really, really nicely. So I do totally recommend this palette, depending on where you get it. It's like $15 at Walmart, I believe, and it's $20 on Ulta's website, but I actually got it at Target for $17, which is kind of in the middle, so it's not too bad. It's a really, really, really great palette. All the colors blend together really, really nicely. The mattes and shimmers are great. I love this one. I've used it so many times, and I know I'm going to be using it many more. Okay, so now I have a couple Morphe palettes that I want to talk about, and one is the 3502 Second Nature palette, and it looks like this, like most of their palettes do. It's the 35 palette, and these are the shades. Okay, so this is not a bad palette. All the shades work pretty well. You can tell I've used it quite a bit. It's a little dirty. The mattes work really well. The shimmers are nice. I even one day decided to experiment and actually use this shade pretty much all over my lid and put this in the middle and did like a halo eye type thing, and it worked really, really nicely. The pigment is definitely there. The only problem I have with this palette is a lot of the colors are repetitive, so I don't really use all the colors, and I honestly haven't reached for this palette in a long time, except for when I did this look, just because I have a lot of these mattes I feel like in my other palettes that I prefer. So I feel like if this one had more color to it, I would like it better. This is my fault, because when I bought it, I was like, oh my gosh, all these neutrals. I love neutrals. If you can't tell by most of my palettes, they're pretty much all neutrals. I would use it, and I definitely have used it quite a bit. I'm going to try to use it some more, give it some more love, because I do like the formula of the shadows, and there's this really rich matte black that is really nice. I love the black in this. I just wish it had a little bit more color, or maybe I should have chosen a better palette with more color. But yeah, it's not bad. I think these are around $25 or $30 on the Morphe website. I got mine at Ulta though, so you can get it at my Ulta too. My other Morphe palette that I have is a new one, 35G Bronze Goals. Okay, So I have a few issues with this palette. I got the little paper that comes with it. I threw away the one with the other one because I just never use it. But this is newer. So here's the palette. There's all the shades. They're really pretty shades. I was expecting it to be a little bit different from what I saw online. And then when I got the palette though, because online, I was really intrigued by this shade right here because online it looked like a really pretty like purpley shade. And it's more of a brown. It's still pretty though, but it's not what I thought. And I thought this one was going to be kind of the same way, like a little bit of a lighter purpley brown. It's more brown than anything. This one I thought it was going to be bright, pinkish reddish. It is, but it has a brown tint to it. Now, maybe I should have known this going into it because it is a bronzy palette, but I just thought the colors were going to be a little bit different. I really, really do like these shades right here. This one I think is really pretty. I did a halo eye with this one in like matte brown in my inner and outer corner, and it turned out really nicely. I've done the same with the matte reds and then use this in the center. And again, it worked pretty nicely. I do like the palette, but I guess wish that I knew what it looked like before I bought it, but I bought it when it launched, so I didn't even like wait to see any reviews or anything on this. I don't really regret buying it, but I feel like if I would have saw the reviews and comments, I probably wouldn't have bought it right away. Another complaint that people are having is that the shimmers aren't very pigmented, and that is true. I really like, I always use my finger with shimmers, or if you know I don't, I use a wet brush, but usually I just try my fingers first, and I never have problems with shimmers with my fingers. And I definitely do with this palette, especially this color. When I've used this, oh my gosh, I have to dip into my finger like 5 times for it to show up on my eyes. It's kind of ridiculous. I definitely didn't expect the shimmers to be like that. I thought they were going to be more pigmented, like the one in my other Morphe palette. That bright orange is really pigmented, and there's a bright red shimmer in there that's really pigmented, so I thought this was going to be the same way. It's not, so that's a little disappointing. Like I said, if I would have read the reviews before I got it, like if I would have waited, I honestly probably wouldn't have bought it. So I'm kind of iffy on it. I'm still trying to use it though and create different looks with it and see it. Like, because I'm making it work. You can definitely make the shimmers work with it if you just, you know, don't mind having to pack it on your eye like 10 million times for it to show up. But it's not that bad. This was $25, so it's definitely not a bad price for all the shades you get. You get 35 shades for 25 bucks. That's not bad. So it is pretty affordable. Okay, so now I just have my higher end palettes. So this one was a limited edition a little over a year ago. It's the Urban Decay Troublemaker palette. Oh, and here's what it looks like. Really pretty shades. I don't really ever use this one anymore, and I used to use it all the time. What I would use all the time would be these 3 shades and then this one, and it would just make the perfect look. And then also what I've done is use, you know, some of these as my crease shades, and then use this all over the lid, and then this in the outer corner, and it's a beautiful smoky eye. I use the white a lot as my brow bone highlights. The only shades I really don't ever use that often are the 2 reds and the green. I want to try to use the green more often though, because I love green eyeshadows right now. I'm really into it. It's just my thing. So I do like this palette. The formula is really good. It blends out really nicely. Obviously not the only place I've really seen it around is on Nordstrom Rack. I saw it for $17, so if you've been interested in this but you haven't been able to get it, definitely go on there and see if it's still there. And $17 is not a bad price. This was $40 when I got it, so I got it as a Christmas gift. It's a really, really nice palette though. I just don't reach for it as often now because I have other palettes I'm trying to use more or that I prefer more, including some of the ones I've already told you, like a lot of my drugstore palettes, like these I'm using a lot. And then I've been trying to use my 35G a lot too. Okay, so another palette that I have that's a little older is the MAC Basic Bitch palette. Okay, so it comes with a sheet too with the names of the colors on it. Here's all the colors. Definitely up my alley. I love these colors. That is why I bought it. Like, these are definitely my kind of colors. I love that it has like a maroon shade. These two sparkly shades are gorgeous. I love the gray, the black. It comes with a big highlighter. It's really, really nice. I don't use it as often as I thought I was going to. And I think it's because it's not as neutral as some of my other ones, which is not like too out there, but it is more of a smokier palette. But I do use it quite often, and I do love the shades in this. I love the formula, so I'm definitely going to keep using this. It's really nice. I think it was around $35 or $40 when I got it. I think it was around $35, but I got it on sale, so I can't say for sure. But yeah, it is really, really nice, and I do love the packaging. It feels really, really nice. So yeah, there is this palette. I just have two more to go over. Next one is not around anymore either because it got discontinued, which is really, really sad. I'm glad I got this before it did get discontinued, but of course I got it way before it got discontinued and I didn't get the sale price. But you can probably still find it on some websites, maybe like Nordstrom Rack has this palette, so maybe, I don't know. Urban Decay Original Naked Palette. It's really a staple in my collection. I love this palette. There is all the shades. I use every single shade in this palette, and I don't have a lot of palettes that I do that with. Really, the only palettes I have that I do that with right now is the MAC palette and the Milani and the NYX. Most of my other palettes I don't really use all the shades from, but I love them. I especially use the first 5 shades right there. I use those the most. And then I really like Dark Horse and Toasted, and I also use Hustle and Creep a lot. The only ones I don't use as often is Half Baked, Smog, and Gunmetal, and they're not bad at all. I just don't use golds as much as I use like the rosier gold and champagne type shadows, and then I don't use the grayish silver as much, but I do really like it. It's a great palette. I mean, it was like $54 when I got it. I love it. I love the packaging. It's just so nice. I'm so sad that it's not around anymore because now when it's gone, I don't know what I'm going to do because I literally use this almost every day. I love this palette. It's a perfect everyday palette. It's great. So my last palette is a newer one to me, but it's an older palette. It's the Too Faced Natural Eyes. Can I just take a minute and like admire the packaging on this? It is so, so beautiful. I love it. And I love that it magnetized opens and shuts. I think that is really cool. It has a really big mirror. And the shades are just everything I want in a palette. These are gorgeous. I use this just as much as I use my Urban Decay Naked. I use them both more than any other palettes. And I can't get enough of this palette. I've only had it for a few days. I haven't had it that long, and I've already been using it like a crap ton. I mean, you can kind of tell it's a little dirty. The gold is like really reflective in it though. I love the packaging. It's just so gorgeous. But my favorite shades, I don't even know, because I love the mattes. Heaven is really, really bright. It's probably as bright as the one in my NYX palette, if not brighter, so I do really like that one. I really, really use Silk Teddy a lot and Push Up. I think those are my two favorite like shimmery shades. Cashmere Bunny and Strip Poker I use like every time I use this palette as my transition shades. I love them, especially Cashmere Bunny. I think it's gorgeous. Sexpresso is also a really, really nice matte brown. Erotica is gorgeous because it is like a darker grayish brownish with glitter in it, and it is just so pretty. I'll use it on my outer corner sometimes instead of a matte brown, which I typically wouldn't do, but I do a lot with this palette. And then Chocolate Martini, I've only used on my eyes once. It's not a bad shade. I'm just kind of experimenting, and I just love some of these other colors more. And Honey Pot is more of a golden, so I don't use it as often as the others because, like I said, I don't use golds as much as like rosier gold champagne type shades, but I do love it. It is really, really nice. This palette is all around great. It stays on all day long. I actually wore it one day and didn't even use a setting spray, just a primer, and it lasted all day long. It looked exactly like it did when I first put it on. I was amazed because Some of my other palettes aren't like that. Some of my other palettes, even if I use an eye primer, it doesn't last all day long. So this one is just solid, great. I love it. It's $38. You can sometimes find it on sale. I got it off the Too Faced website for $30 because I had a 20% off coupon. So, you know, you can find a sale, sometimes to make it work. But yeah, this is just a really great palette. So that is all of my eyeshadow palettes I have. It's quite a lot for, just somebody like me that's not a makeup artist, not a beauty guru or anything. But I just love experimenting with new palettes. I have a couple more that I'm interested in getting and playing around with. But like I said, I think I might get rid of a couple, being the Flower and W7. I may or may not try to pass on or sell my Morphe since I just don't ever use it anymore. So that's that. The other ones that I use the most would be my Naked, these two, this one. I do use this one from time to time, and then my Basic Bitch from MAC. So that is all for this video. I hope that you enjoyed. If you have any other video recommendations for me, let me know. I'm just kind of tiptoeing in the water with my makeup videos and seeing how it goes from there. So if you have any recommendations, let me know. Other than that, I will hopefully see you in my next video. So, bye!